Little farms this game. Got the two best shotguns in the game. Wish I had a better burst. But yeah, let's go.
122 meters down, and we see the deepest known point that a plant's roots have ever reached, a fig tree in South Africa. 220 meters down, and we arrive at the deepest river in the world, the Congo River in Africa. Beyond that, at 240 meters, you can ride through the deepest railway tunnel in the world that connects the Japanese islands of Honshu and Hokkaido. But at 287 meters down, you can drive through the deepest road tunnel in the world in Norway. 305 meters down, and you would still be vulnerable to the B-82 Earth-penetrating nuclear warhead, which can destroy structures up to this depth beneath the surface. Incredibly, though, at 392 meters, we arrive at the deepest well and possibly deepest hole ever dug by hand. This is the Woodingdean water well in the UK, and it was dug all the way back in 1862. At 603 meters down, we arrive at something terrifying, the deepest vertical drop inside of a cave. If you were unfortunate enough to be in this cave and fall down this hole, the fall would be higher up than falling from the top of the One World Trade Center in New York, and the fall would take you over 11 seconds before hitting the bottom. Even further down, though, at 700 meters is where the Chilean miners were trapped at for 69 days back in 2010. 970 meters down is the deepest hole ever dug that still has an open sky above it, the Bingham Canyon open pit mine in Utah. This pit is so deep that you could place the tallest building in the entire world in the center and still have over 100 more meters to the surface. Much further down at 1,410 meters, though, is the deepest concert ever held happened with the band Agonizer in Finland. 1,642 meters down is the depth of the deepest lake on Earth, Lake Baikal in Russia, and 1,857 meters down is the deepest part of the Grand Canyon. The deepest known cave on Earth is located 2,197 meters beneath the surface in Georgia, but the deepest hole that you could actually fall into goes way deeper than even this. All the way down at 3,132 meters is the bottom of the Moab Khotsong mine shaft in South Africa. Taking the elevator takes 4.5 minutes to reach the bottom, but if you fell into it from the top, it would take you 25 entire seconds for you to hit the bottom and think about what you've just done. Long enough to receive and miss an incoming phone call. Even further down at 3,600 meters is the deepest point that a multicellular organism has been found alive, this freaky-looking worm. But human beings themselves have been even deeper than this. 4,000 meters down is the deepest part of the deepest mine on Earth, also located in South Africa. The trip from the surface down to the bottom takes over an hour to complete, and the temperature at the bottom can reach a sweltering 66 degrees Celsius. 6,000 meters is the average depth of the oceanic crust beneath the ocean floor. Way down at 8,848 meters is the height of Mount Everest if it were placed underground instead. 10,994 meters down is the bottom of the Marianas Trench, which is the deepest part of the ocean. I already covered the depth of the ocean in another video, but unbelievably, humans have actually dug down significantly deeper than even this. For reference about what's next, 11,887 meters is the average altitude that a commercial airliner flies at, but deeper than that, at 12,262 meters is the depth of the Kola Super Deep Borehole, a project where the Soviet Union attempted to drill all the way through the Earth's crust. They only reached a third of the way there, though, because the temperature at this depth reached 180 degrees Celsius, which was too hot for the drill to continue operating any further. The hole is also only 23 centimeters wide, so luckily you can't accidentally fall into it. If you dropped a quarter down the shaft, though, it would take about 50 seconds before it hit the bottom. Recently, however, this depth has been surpassed by the Z44 Shavio oil and gas well, which has drilled down to a depth of 12,376 meters. That's the equivalent of stacking 15 Burj Khalifas on top of each other, and currently represents the deepest hole that humanity has ever dug. The crust, however, can extend down to 70,000 meters below the Earth's surface, and the planet's center is located 6,371 kilometers down. If the surface of the Earth is Lisbon, Portugal, and the planet's center is Astana, Kazakhstan, then humanity so far has just ventured this tiny, insignificant distance. A lot of you have asked me before what software I use to create these videos with and how I learned to do it. I mostly use Adobe After Effects and Adobe Photoshop, and I taught myself how to use both of them by watching tutorial videos online. I never went to college for animation, but you can teach yourself almost anything online today, and Skillshare is a perfect...
Cocktails and dreams. This is far more serious stuff, and one of our most expensive liquids with a value of $210 per gallon. Scintillation cocktail is a liquid used to help measure the activity of radioactive material. Radioactive material is dissolved or suspended in the scintillation cocktail and placed on a liquid scintillation counting machine, which allows you to see the alpha and beta particles being emitted. It was used to analyze soil samples after nuclear disasters like Chernobyl and Fukushima to see if it was safe to come back.
Faxverse presents photos that portray the perfect illustration of modern society. Number 1. The Internet. This illustration is by Steve Cutts. He wanted to show how negative the internet can be and how seriously we take what we read. The picture shows a person holding on to the ledge, trying not to fall into the pit of monsters. The person symbolizes society, and the pit of monsters symbolizes the negative feedback on the internet that people fear too much. There is one monster grabbing at the person's leg. This symbolizes that regardless of how much we try not to, we are always feeding negativity everywhere on the internet.
Oh, baby.
The death of
Can't touch this.
This
Well, you
genius
did,
illustration by
but-
John Holcroft represents the death of literature. In today's technological world,
What the?
people are using
Why is it white?
media to get the information
I didn't know
they
Gandalf was in here.
need and
Gandalf the
share it
White.
with others.
What the
book
flip?
is in the shape of a coffin, symbolizing that the book is dying out. Each of the nails in the coffin is the social media symbols.
What?
Holcroft is trying to tell us that, thanks to the internet and social media,
Ooh.
eventually literature will be a thing of the past. Number 3. Our phones are our lives and our identities. This photo of a man with his iPhone attached to his head says a lot about how society today looks at cell phones. It is attached to the man's head, which suggests that we cannot escape our phones, and we certainly cannot live without them. The fact that the phone is covering his face says a lot as well. Most people have attached their own personal identities with their online representation. The way that you are perceived on social media is the way that you perceive yourself. For example, people are constantly posting photos of themselves on social media. There are some
What?
there are other people who will judge their self.
Well, guys, that's the end of it.